All right, how's it going? So, this episode, I'm going to change things up a little bit. Lately, I've been throwing myself a bit of a pity party, and today I'm going to hype myself up a little bit. We're going to inflate the ego because Lord knows that I need it more than ever right now. And it's okay to do that, I think, every once in a while. So, today, to start off, I would like to go back to a place where I mentally wasn't in a good place. I'd say December to January of this year. I was burnt out, I was tired, not healthy, and basically just going through the motions day in and day out. And I really heavily relied on my partner at this time and still do today. But I never want to be like a burden to her. So I set out to really make some changes. I'm getting married in December, and I remember telling myself, all right, you need to get it together. So I made some significant changes to my health, and then also my personal time. My 2023 New Year's resolutions were set, and I was determined to stick to them for the first time ever in my 27 years at the time. Now, nearly 10 months later, I'm proud to say this has been the most selfish year of my life, I think. I've never invested so much time really working on myself, and I think it all really starts with discipline. Do I have the discipline to do what I set out to do? Typically, when I start doing something for myself, I'm driven by the sense of motivation or passion, and then within a few days or weeks, it fizzles out. This could be anything from doing a new hobby or working out or reading or whatever it is. In Ego is the Enemy, a book by Ryan Holiday that I'm reading right now, it talks about the difference between passion and purpose. And he says, when we are young or when our cause is young, we feel so intensely. And this is so true, right? And this passion is just a poor substitute for discipline. He later goes on to say, what humans require in our ascent is purpose and realism. Purpose, you could say, is like how he defines it, is passion with boundaries. How are we going to accomplish our goals? What steps are we going to take? What are we willing to sacrifice? Understanding what it takes to discover your purpose will leave you better off in the long run, I think. So let's go back. It's December and I'm just depressed, right? I'm not in a good spot. I can rule out seasonal affective disorder because it's sunny 24/7 in Vegas, and that's just not a thing here. So what can I do to better myself and get on a track for success? So cue resolution number 1, start implementing a healthier lifestyle. One incredibly easy thing to do that most people really don't is, it's crazy, it's take your dog for walks. Growing up, we were never a dog walking family, I would say. We really only played with them inside the majority of the time or in our backyard. And I mean, I grew up with like English bulldogs, so they really weren't that active. But rarely was I an outside kid. If I had the choice to be an inside or outside, it wouldn't even be a thought. I'd be inside 100%. Now, my fiance's family on the other side, they're outside people. They wake up, they drink coffee outside, they eat dinner outside. They're always by like the fire pit in their backyard. They're always going on these big camping trips. They have a fifth wheel, so that's been their thing like growing up their whole life. All their parties are outside. They love it out there. And when I was first introduced with it, didn't really understand why. I was just new to experiencing what like the outside really was, and it was just a nice change of pace for me, I thought. But anyways, back to the walk. So most days this year, we go out for a walk around sunset, started taking our dog for these short 10 to 15 minute walks, and they're great. We're not on our phones, we're not listening to music, we're just kind of taking in everything from the day. And for me, it's one of the small moments in a day, I'd say, where I can really just be present and appreciate the moment. There's something, to me, just very therapeutic about walking. And I've actually read a lot of stuff about this recently in the audiobooks and podcasts that I listen to. But even if I'm alone, it serves as a time to reflect. But beyond the beyond the walks with the dog, I knew I needed to kick it up a notch and go to the gym in order to really accomplish my resolution of living out this healthier lifestyle. Throughout most of my life, I've completely just hated the gym, right? It's not fun. I feel out of place there. I'm just this small, scrawny, skinny kid. And as an adult, I've thought about doing something that would be more fun, right? Like joining a club sports team or just something that I could really relate to. But 9 times out of 10, I hate being social, and having to do something like that on a weekly basis just sounds horrible to me. And I know eventually it's just going to turn into an obligation, which is not something that I ever wanted to do. In college, I actually lived with a bodybuilder for a while, and he really opened my eyes to what the gym can offer in more ways than one. I still don't like it, but there's almost like a sense of peace that the gym offers, I'd say. Most of the time, it's just you and your headphones, unless someone tries to like bother you and get on the machine that you're trying to get on or whatever it is. I hate that, but most of the time it's just you and your thoughts, and you're setting out to accomplish just this one goal, and that's move something heavy from here to here. And in January, like everyone else, I said, you know what, it's time to get in shape a little bit. So I set out to go to the gym 4 times a week every week. Typically, I go to the gym in the morning. I wake up earlier than I need to, slide out of bed, drive a mile to go to the gym with just this menacing, I hate the world frown just completely tattooed on my face. And I work out for about 45 minutes to an hour 4 times a week. Now, the past few years, I'd go to the gym for, let's say, like a few months or maybe a few weeks, start feeling good, and then something like would come up, like a busy holiday season or traveling or a really big project at work, and instantly the gym was just the first thing on my list that I would need to give up in order to make time. I just wasn't motivated long term, I'd say. The passion would just subside, and it was just something that always happened, especially after working out for a few weeks, right? And not even like gaining like a single pound. I would just see no improvement. I'd be like, no, this is it. But back then I was doing it for different reasons. I think I was doing it to try and look good and thought I needed to give somewhat of an effort to look decent for society. But now I work out because it's an excuse to get up, start your day, be active, do something productive that will really get you on the right foot and start your day off right. And if I gain a few extra pounds for the upcoming wedding and look pretty good, that's an extra bonus, which I have. So that's definitely great. But I don't want to make it sound like all sunshine and rainbows. I do absolutely feel horrible getting up early and going through the motions, I won't lie. But the trade-off after getting back from the gym is so much greater. I think you feel just awake and energized, and I have an appetite, and I've had time to think about everything in my day before I need to actually do it. And it also has this weird effect where you start kind of planning out your next day the night before. You start going to bed early, you stop scrolling on Instagram late at night, your alarm is set, and you get into this routine, which I love. Now, this is a perfect segue into resolution number 2, which was reading and listening to audiobooks and or podcasts. I don't want to like limit myself to how I'm consuming knowledge, basically, but my workouts are not intense by any means. I'm not doing cardio. I'm not exerting myself to the point where I like need assistance or anything. I'm not fucking training for anything. I'm just doing it to be active and to really start my day. But that gives me the opportunity to focus on something else or use that extra alone time to my advantage. And I'd say around February, I really started listening to audiobooks and podcasts while working out. I traded in my usual workout playlist with something new. And in that time, I've been able to listen to 30 audiobooks, which is not nearly as impressive as the amount of books I read last year, which is 1. So that's been really great. As I mentioned this before, I've always hated reading books and looked at audiobooks as kind of like cheating because you're just passively taking in this information. But as I'm working out, I'm doing just such mundane tasks like lifting a weight, like I said, from here to here, whatever it is. that I'm able to really retain what I'm listening to and focus on the information that's being provided. First, I started with books from comedians that I liked. I thought this was a nice way to kind of ease into this new hobby of mine. They were very lighthearted, funny to listen to. And then over time, the topics began to shift from funny stories to other just autobiographies or self-help books, career-based books on like marketing and advertising. And honestly, for me, it's really just helped me in so many unique ways throughout the year. Beyond obviously learning new things that the books have to offer, one unexpected bonus of retaining information from podcasts or audiobooks is how it's helped me in many, many, many social settings. I feel like I'm able to offer so much more to a conversation now because I'm actively taking the time to consume content that I find interesting. And if something sticks with me, I'm more inclined to share it, I'd say. And by sharing the information that I've learned, I then in return get more references for books and podcasts through these conversations, which only continues to benefit me. And with this newfound confidence of conversation topics in my back pocket, that leads me into my next resolution of being more social. Last week, I talked about my efforts in learning the art of small talk, which I fully believe there is an art to it. But these past few months, I've really made so much more of an effort to put myself in these scenarios that encourage me to just be more social. Just yesterday, I sat down with someone who I haven't spoken to in over 5 years, and I decided to reach out to him, and we scheduled lunch, and it just couldn't have gone better, I think. And yes, the social anxiety was still there of what are we going to talk about, and what if there's a lull in the conversation, and all of this was running through my mind days before the meeting, but it didn't stop me from following through with it, I'd say. I realized over the last few years, I really used work as an excuse to stop me from being more social. And I've either said I was way too busy or I just didn't value the return that being social really offered at the time. But through my experiences this year, I'm very happy with the progress that I've made. And although I'm a true introvert at heart, it is very nice to know that I can hold my own in a conversation. I think one of the biggest takeaways from yesterday's lunch was you need to really put yourself out there in order to create more opportunities for yourself. And so far, this is really proven true. Finally, my last resolution of finding a creative outlet, such as the name of this podcast. During this time, a colleague and I were building out this podcast room in our office space, and I thought doing something like this could really help channel my creativity and help me just grow. So together we finished the room in February, and by April I posted my first episode, and the rest is history. You're watching it happen right now. And I'm just incredibly proud of myself of staying true to my word and posting weekly, especially during weeks of just intense pressure and stress and so many projects. It got really crazy at times. Although I haven't had the confidence to really tell people in my immediate circle that I've been working on this creative outlet of mine, I can still look back at episode 1 and just see massive improvements, which is great. Just talking out my thoughts weekly has really, I think it's really helped me. I know it seems like everyone is starting a podcast these days, but I strongly encourage anyone to just start really recording themselves. All you need is a phone and a pair of headphones, as you can see. And it's incredibly therapeutic, in my opinion. It calms your mind down because you're just letting it really all out into the world. You don't need to edit it. You don't need to post it if you don't want. It's just the act of doing it. And thinking of topics to talk about is much more difficult of a task than I originally anticipated. But it's a great creative challenge that I really look forward to on a weekly basis. It's not easy to talk to yourself for 20 minutes, but we're here and we're giving it our best shot every week. So yeah. So to wrap it up, I think it really comes down to discipline. What do you want to prioritize in life? And really, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to to make it happen. From there, you can put forth the effort daily and establish strong habits. And I think that'll really just set you up for success. And I'll end this episode with a quote that I heard this week that really sums up the efforts that I've put forth this year towards bettering myself. It's by Michael Tong. It's the small habits, how you spend your mornings, how you talk to yourself, what you read and what you watch, who you share your energy with, who has access to you. That will change your life. All right. Well, until next time, party people, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you next week.